I think exactly what you just said. Our kids see everything and they want everything, and they have zero understanding that their tiny little brains are being targeted by these multi-million dollar corporations. I mean, it starts so young. Every mom knows that everything a child should not have is placed perfectly at eye level in the checkout line, right? Where you're stuck for sometimes 5 minutes. So I think that was our inspiration. How can we train our children not to be impulse buyers? And
Hey y'all, Katie here, and welcome to Make Dollars Make Sense with special guests Annie and Nicole with My First Nest Egg. Here we share information that'll help you teach your child financial literacy. Join us here once per month on your favorite podcast platform. Just search MOMnation Talk Radio or on YouTube, and our handle is at MOMnation USA. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, it's Real Estate Katie, and I am back with my two favorite financial females, Annie and Nicole, with My First Nest Egg. Welcome, guys.
thank you. Great to be here.
Hi, Katie.
Hi there. I love having you, and I'm so excited for today's topic because it absolutely hits home in my household. I will tell you that. When you brought up the great sea monkeys of 85, yeah. I was right there with you, sister, right there with you, spending all my allowance on that stuff. But before we hop into that, I just want to do a quick little shout out for my buddy, my pal, my friend, Dana Wilson with Team EvoAZ. She partners with me. We work on Team EvoAZ together. And she is, you guys, she is one of the sweetest, most bubbly, most energetic, most positive agents that I've ever had the pleasure of working with in my entire life. Every client that she closes is her best friend for life, I swear. She's always out to lunch and out to dinner with these guys, but it's awesome because for the biggest purchase of their life, they are really in wonderful hands. So just a big shout out to my friend Dana. If you all see her out there, give her a high five because she is absolutely killing it and her people love her. You will too if you are in the market. Just check us out at evoaz.com. That's evoaz.com. All right, ladies. So let's hop into the conversation about the sea monkeys. What we're doing is we're talking about an article that you wrote for your blog that came out not too long ago. And it's really about helping our kids spot sales pitches.
Yeah,
can you hop into that just a little bit and kind of tell us, hey, why is this important? I know why it's important because I deal with it like every 2 seconds and my kid wants everything that he sees an ad for. But what was your sort of motivation in writing that article?
I think exactly what you just said. Our kids see everything and they want everything, and they have zero understanding that their tiny little brains are being targeted by these multi-million dollar corporations. I mean, it starts so young. Every mom knows that everything a child should not have is placed perfectly at eye level in the checkout line, right? Where you're stuck for sometimes 5 minutes. So I think that was our inspiration. How can we train our children not to be impulse buyers? And I think a lot of this came from Nicole's sea monkey story, which you have brought up. So I'm going to let her tell because it's absolutely one of my favorite stories.
So it was 1985. I had curly bangs. It was not a good look. There was a lot going on with spandex. And in the back of every single kids magazine was an ad for sea monkeys. And if some of our younger listeners don't know what a sea monkey are, they're literally brine shrimp, but they were packaged in this amazing cartoon, and it said underwater aquatic monkeys that play with crystals and they have families. And I was so excited, and I could not wait to fork over my $7 to buy my sea monkeys, to get a tank, to get a bubbler. And I battled my parents for weeks, who kept telling me it's a waste of money. For 25 cents, we can go down to the aquarium tanks and we can get 25 cents, you could get brine shrimp. And I insisted, no, these are underwater aquatic monkeys. Look at the picture. And lo and behold, I waited a month. I spent $15 of my allowance getting them a castle and everything else. And they arrived, and I dropped the tablet in the water. And the next morning I woke up and there was a bowl full of brine shrimp, and I was devastated.
Oh, but were they really alive? Because I have a totally different experience.
Oh no, mine Well, mine did not last 24 hours because I thought that maybe if they had the bubbler in there, they would get more oxygen and grow into underwater aquatic monkeys. And I put the bubbler on, and when I came back into the room, all of the brine shrimp had been pushed with the air to the sides of the bowl where they all perished in a smelly heap. So,
Oh dear.
yep, I can't wait to hear yours.
Well, so if I remember right now, this is a long time ago, right, ladies? But if I remember right, I too was quite excited, and it came with a little tank, or there was some sort of small plastic water holder that it came with, and had the little seashells and whatever imprinted on it. And so I too got all excited, worked real hard that week, spent my allowance on it, got it home, did all the things, read it perfectly, and did all the things. While the next day I had nothing. And the next day I had nothing again, until I just had a whole bunch of junk just kind of hanging out on the top of the water. And it never, like sea monkeys, nothing ever happened. Brine shrimp, nothing. I got nothing. So you actually got something that was alive. So kudos to you. But moral of the story is we got duped, Nicolle.
Oh, completely. And the best part was my parents, they had fought me on this. They kept telling me it was junk. I didn't believe them. And I just remember my dad, not really saying much, but it was such an I told you so as we were scrubbing that tank. And I think from that moment on, I became a much more cautious buyer. And it's because I had used my own money. And even worse, we went on vacation 2 weeks later, and my brother had all of the allowance money, and mine had all been spent on the sea monkeys. And as he was buying treats and cool stuff, I had $2 saved up, and I was just depressed, and my parents let me be depressed. And I would say that fundamentally changed the way that I started consuming ads after that.
Well, because they want the impulse buy, right?
Yes.
So they want your kid to get super duper excited and to bug you enough so that you're sick of hearing it and you're like, okay, go ahead. Right?
Yes. And we live in such a throwaway culture now that frankly, it's not the same feeling. Like Nicolle really felt that loss, right? I mean, she really felt it, and she went on vacation and she didn't have the money. Now I feel like kids are just given so much that they end up just throwing so much away, and they don't really feel the loss as much, which is, I think, why we came up with these games that we did to teach kids kind of how to spot marketing tactics ahead of time.
So let's talk about the games a little bit, because that was it's a great article, by the way, awesome job. But that was my favorite part, was the games. And too bad I didn't read it before Super Bowl, because I totally would have been muting during the commercials to do the little test. But can you just kind of give a brief rundown of the games for our audience?
Yeah, we'd love to. Okay, so these are 5 games we came up with, like I said, to teach kids kind of how to spot marketing tactics. So I'll start with number 1. We call number 1 the commercial game. So this is why the Super Bowl was perfect. What we do whenever we're watching a game that has commercials that you can't fast forward through, is we just mute the commercials, and all of the kids sit there and they watch the commercials on mute, and they try to figure out what is being sold. And this is such an interesting thing to do. And they try to figure out what kind of tactics are they using? Are they trying to make us feel a certain way? Are they trying to make us think we're going to be cool if we buy this? You can see it with car commercials, right? They get these super cool people and they put on cool sunglasses and they drive these cars. And without any sort of audio, it's actually a little bit hard to guess, but easier to see the tactics they're using. And then the winner of each commercial is the one who can actually guess what they're selling you. Usually it's kind of generic, like a car, something, bonus points if they can figure out the actual brand. And this is just a great way to start tuning their minds to, 1, the fact that they are trying to sell you something, and 2, they are pulling at your emotions to try to do it.
I love that. I think that is huge, so that they can actually realize, hey, let's take a step back. Let's slow down here. No, I'm actually not going to be that cool. Well, maybe I am. I don't know if I buy that car, but chances are it might not happen. There was one line in your article that really stuck to me, when it said something like, you know, if you buy that cool new car that talks to you and does all of these things for you, and then, you know, all of a sudden you get it, and how many problems do you have with it? I thought that was pretty funny. But I digress. So second game.
Sure, it's the junk game. And this is that spring cleaning opportunity. You're spring cleaning, you're starting to put all of their junk into piles that you absolutely need to get rid of. And how many of those pieces are those 99-cent store or impulse buys that broke the second time they used it? And it just adds up, right? Sure, it was 99 cents, or it was just $1.50, or this was just $3. Well, put all that junk together and have them start guessing how much all of that junk cost them. And I bet it's going to be around every cleaning, $20 to $30. And then ask them, what could you have bought if you had waited and not bought this little thing that broke in the second time you used it? $30, what could you have put that to? And it's a perfect opportunity then to goal set, right? If $30, you can come up with that again. And what are we going to put that to? And I think you can even go for a higher goal. You know, that Lego set that you've really wanted, that's $43. Okay, I bet we can save up for that. But now the next time we're in a store and you see that little thing that you know is going to fall apart, let's not even have the conversation. I want you to tell me, I'm going to pass on this because I want to wait until I want to put this money away for my Lego set.
I love that. We're playing that game today when my son gets home from school, just so you know, because he's one of those cats that like will go out to dinner, and one of our favorite places that's pretty close to the house, that's easy and we all like, has a little arcade in it. And so it's, Mom, can I have a few bucks to go play in the arcade? Okay, fine. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to go play games. It's going to keep him occupied. He has so much fun doing that. But he doesn't play games. He goes over to the machines that just spit out the little thing in the plastic ball and to see what he gets. And he gets like, you know, a ring or one of those goopy things that's just going to be full of sand in the next 5 minutes. And so it's done. But he's so all about that. So we're going to play the junk game today. Thank you, lady.
Have fun.
Love it.
Or what's the third game?
The third game is the reality game. And this is the one you kind of hit on. This is where you make them compare the advertisement to reality. So you need to find something that you have that you can find an advertisement for. I think the perfect one for us was our minivan. Because when we bought our minivan, if you watch the commercial, it is going to take you exactly where you need to go just with your voice. The radio is going to go up and down depending on the noise level in the car. The trunk is going to open when you just like kick your foot underneath it, right? All of these amazing features. So you watch that ad and they see all these crazy things that your minivan's supposed to do. And then you drive the minivan with them and they're like, oh, wait a minute, the trunk never opens when you kick your foot underneath it. And sometimes the doors close on us. And this navigation system hasn't worked since we bought it. And they can just start to see the reality that you are sold versus the reality that you get. And it's not just minivans, it's toys, it is vacuum cleaners, it is dishwashers. It's so many things in their lives that they're going to need to tamp down their expectations and not expect that they're going to do everything that the ad is selling them.
I'm going to need to reread that part, Annie, because every time I buy an outfit on Amazon, I'm sure I'm going to be so gorgeous in it. And I wind up looking like my Aunt Mildred. So,
oh gosh, it's true. It's true.
Same here. We actually have this running joke in my house that anytime I buy anything off of Amazon, it's never the right thing. I have to tell you this. So we have a bunny. And we got him about 8 months ago. He's the best pet ever. But I wanted to increase the amount of surface area he can be in unattended. Okay. So I wanted to get him like a bigger fence and kind of add it to what we already have. And so I waited a good 2 weeks because I bought the perfect fence and it was only $11. And I kept telling my husband how amazing of a bargain shopper I am and how it's going to be great. And I waited every day by the door, like seriously, like a little kid. I was so excited for this to come in so I could set up my little bunny heaven. And it comes in and my husband actually was the one to get it off the doorstep. And he was just laughing and laughing. I'm like, what? He goes, your bunny fence came in. And my bunny fence was like a hamster fence. Big.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean,
he's like a Godzilla of the
Exactly. And so I did set it up just to see what would happen. And my buddy's like, yeah, nice try. Hops right over it.
I love
My
that.
husband's dying still. All right. So game number 4. This might be my favorite one.
Okay, product placement. Again, anytime you are watching TV with your kids, any show, anything else, great time for them to start identifying brands. And here is a really amazing stat. Kids as young as 3 already have complete brand recognition. Oh yeah. So have you ever, Coca-Cola and its polar bears, Ford and its like cool monster trucks. They are advertising to kids because they are getting them to be lifelong brand lovers before they can even consume that product. So get kids to start recognizing brands early on in these shows and these everything else, and say, now, do you really think your favorite superhero has to have that particular brand of Jell-O, or do you think someone paid for it? Right? Make them a little cynical. Make them say, is that real? Does it have to be that brand for that superhero to do well at X? And I think it's just a really neat way to get kids just again to be a little bit more cautious with what is being sold to them.
Yeah. Any movie or any show. I was, my kid, I don't know, he watches this, I don't even remember the name of it. I'm not going to try, but some new show, the kids always have these new things going on, and it's constant product placement in there.
Yep.
That's super interesting. Okay. So the last game is actually my favorite one.
I know. I actually really like this one too. It's brand versus generic. And it's fun because it involves a blind taste test. And I love anything that involves a blind taste test. So
me too.
Kids are so sold on brands, like Nicolle said, very, very early, but truly you can barely recognize the difference between most brands. And just because it has Mickey Mouse on the box doesn't mean it actually tastes better. So start with something very simple. Like if your kids have Cheerios in the morning, you can get Joe-O's or Safeway O's, right? Any other generic brand of Cheerios. And how I did it was I actually just kind of snuck them in instead. I just put them in because we keep things in kind of generic containers anyway, plastic containers. Gotcha. So I just snuck in the generic. And then about a week later, I was like, oh, did you guys taste any difference? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, these aren't Cheerios, right? This is the generic brand from Trader Joe's. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then it started a broader conversation, and we started doing some blind taste tests with other brands that they like. You can do bars, you can do fruit snacks. There's so many different things, and it makes them realize there's truly very little difference between the brand and the generic. And then the next time you go shopping, you can show them the price difference. And it is pretty startling a lot of times. And this will just make them smarter shoppers for life. And they will be more likely to, be less attracted to the brand and more attracted to what they actually want, which is the product.
And isn't it true that some of the generic brands are actually made by the more expensive brand maker? Did I say that right?
Yes, you're correct. I think Costco does that with the vast majority of Kirkland Signature. They are made by a lot of the exact same companies, but they put the Costco brand on them. So yes, a lot of them are made by the exact same companies, frequently in the same places. We bought a TV once and we bought the generic brand, and the guy told us this is made at the exact same place as a Samsung. It's just they sell it under the less expensive brand.
So crazy. It's the more you know, the more you know.
Yep.
So before we go, there was something that another thing that stuck out to me in the article, and it briefly just kind of went over how impulse buying is, it affects mental health. Can you speak to that just a little bit? Because our kids' mental health is something that's certainly extremely important to me, and I'm sure is important to all the parents out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Impulse buying tends to lead to a lot of regret. And I think we all just know that instinctively. You buy something on impulse, you get home, you actually don't want it, and now you're stuck with it. And you can do a couple things. You can get rid of it, which, is a massive waste of money, or you can keep it. And then it's a constant reminder of your impulse buy. So impulse buying, people who do impulse buy do tend to be a little bit less happy than people who are a little more disciplined and able to wait it out and kind of think whether or not they really want something before they buy it. I had this friend at my very first job, and we would go shopping at lunch quite frequently because it was, our first job and we finally had money. Except I would buy things and she would put everything on hold. I was like, oh, that's dumb. She's not even going back and getting them later. She's just putting them on hold. Yeah. So that was a feature, not a bug of what she was doing. She knew exactly what she was doing. She waited, she put it on hold, and she came back the next day and picked it up if she actually wanted it. And it took me a long time to realize how smart that was, because I was just buying all this stuff that I didn't necessarily want. And if I had sat on it for 12 to 24 hours, I might not have gotten it. So it's the whole idea of kind of being more thoughtful about our purchases instead of just buying because the advertisers, again, have made it so irresistible.
I love that. So she's still having the fun by going out with you, with her friend at lunch. She's still finding the thing, which, you know, there's a lot of fun in that.
Of course.
Some people really enjoy that. And so she's still allowing herself that, but hey, I'm going to sit on it. I'm going to sleep on it kind of thing.
Yep.
And we all know that when we're making decisions, taking a step back and sleeping on it is often a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she saved a lot of money. I did not, but I learned a lesson.
Like, she saved a lot of money. Awesome, ladies. Well, this is perfect. I'm so excited. I've got the link to this article in the show notes. It's such a great one. I've reread it already a couple of times. I suggest that all you parents out there reread it a couple of times. Do these games with your kid. My son just has no idea what's in store for him when he gets home from school today. It's going to be so exciting. We might even throw a taste test in there, Annie. Spice it up real good. You know, I'll take some video of it and share it with you. But before we go, guys, let's talk just a little bit about your amazing app, My First Nest Egg. I know that we talked about it the last time, but we may have new listeners on this show. I'm sure that we do. So can you just briefly go over it and let everybody know about our amazing offer code?
Sure. Well, My First Nest Egg teaches kids healthy financial habits in a digital world. So they don't have that same opportunity to experience cash the way we did when we were growing up. And so we really wanted to give them this great opportunity with an app that's a smart piggy bank. It's a chore and allowance app, and it has a 1 question per day financial education question that brings them all the way through the national standards. And because we love being on your program and we're so excited about working with you, we want everyone to have a lifetime free subscription to the app using MOMnation as their code. So go ahead, sign up, use MOMnation. We're moms ourselves. We don't advertise to kids. We like to keep them safe online. We don't want a lot of their information. We really just want to give this next generation some healthy money habits.
And it's awesome. As you know, my 8-year-old and I have been using it, and he's really excited about it. And he's so stoked to watch his savings balance grow. He likes his spending balance too. But it's cool to he'll ask me every once in a while, you know, every couple of days, Mom, can I see how much I have now? Because it's neat what you guys have done in that app, that you put the ability to put in the percentage rate that they may be gaining in interest on their savings account, so they can kind of see that grow too. And I know that that's exciting for him, and I know that it's helpful because it's definitely teaching him and training his brain to start thinking in that direction. So thank you guys for your genius app. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Yeah, we love being on. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, and ditto. We will see you guys next month. And for those of you who didn't catch our very first episode, you need to catch it. Hop on over to our YouTube channel. Our handle is @MOMnation USA. Just do a quick little scroll down. You will see the playlist Make Dollars Make Sense, and you will see last month's episode. If you are more of the audio version, maybe you run a lot, drive a lot, that kind of thing, you prefer the podcast platform, go on over to your most favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio, and download, subscribe, set the little notifications, whatever it is that your platform does, and you will be notified every time we have a new episode. All right, ladies, until next time.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Katie.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.